What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Neg Entropy Chronicles. Do your boy a favor and do what is showing right here on the screen. Show your boy some love so we can get this stuff moving, alright? Now, what I'm talking about is something that you notice that happens a lot in this social media era where women do take a lot of pride and talking down on the children's fathers, even though they're actually present in the children's lives. Now, I'll expound more on it after we watch the video, and then we can look at my thoughts afterwards. So let's go ahead and get into it, all right?
Shout out to the plant.
And this is something I never do because I think we're kind of like this in the same way. As a single mom, I got this shit. I got it. I ain't calling her dad. You can, I'll die starving on the road before I call her dad. Facts. So I'm like, you know what? I'm all the way up here. Ever. Say it again.
That's the dumbest shit ever.
Hey Jay, let her rock out for a little bit. We could digest that. We could digest that later. Let her rock out. Go finish the story.
Okay.
Finish the story.
I'm gonna die on the side of the road before I call your dad to help.
Okay, because I'm gonna tell you why.
It's kind of wild, but go ahead.
Because when you've been
she trying
to get up.
I'm gonna let my sister tell.
Hold on.
I'm gonna let my sister tell. Take this one.
You've been holding that shit down from the start to the beginning, and you've been setting and implementing every seed that child has in them without the help of the other. I don't need to call you for nothing.
So,
period.
I say respectfully, and that actually gives me the alley-oop for my question.
Okay,
sure.
I don't know the relationship between you and her dad. So when you say I would die on the side of the road,
a group of y'all and how these dads operate, because it's not just us.
Respect.
Okay, it's a large percentage. It's a large percentage of women who has to take on that whole package.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? Without the other party of by choice.
We love
not
them.
doing what the fuck they want to do.
Matt, no, that's not even joking like that. Matt love for him. My mom's was a single mom. So I say that because when you introduce dad, I'm assuming that he's in her life. So when you say that I would die on the side,
it's always to a degree.
See, I don't know that though,
because men get a lot of choices, and I don't think we want to talk about that. But it's always to a degree.
Okay, no,
because
I agree with that too.
This is the thing. This is the thing.
I agree with that too.
If you're a parent, how you gonna tell me I can't this weekend, next weekend?
Because parents don't do that.
Listen, I'm not here to.
It's every weekend.
I'm not.
Every 365, every Monday through Saturday, Sunday. It's every day, 24/7, 365. It ain't not this weekend. I can't.
I'm gonna let y'all. Listen, I'm gonna let y'all get y'all.
Listen, most like I'm gonna say out of this. He's so well.
He's trained. He's giving trained.
He's well trained. Yeah.
All I'm saying is I don't know the situation between y'all relationship. Yeah, I can't speak on this man because I don't know him, and I would never do that.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is when you
it's not personal.
It's not personal.
It's just
when you say
unfortunately it's generational.
No, you say it's not personal, but I'm sure the nigga that's watching this, that's the dad, is taking it very personal. Again, and it might be his problem. However, all I'm saying is when I heard dad, I'm assuming that he's in her life because you said dad.
Yeah.
Now, when you say I would die on the side of the road before I call him, to me, that's the dumbest thing in the world. There's no disrespect to you. It's not personal. And that's not personal because I just feel like if you have the support, why not?
Okay, so let me answer that question.
Come on, what this is.
So I'll finish that story. So I realized that, obviously I done dragged her across the floor. She's crying, the dog crying. Like it's just
how your daddy did.
All hell's breaking loose in my house right now because one time I turned up on her and I didn't put my hands on her and the dog started barking at me.
Like, bitch, play with her if you want to.
Yeah, the dog was like...
You gotta understand, his dog's like all of 6 inches.
Mind you, my dog can fit my hands. And I had to look at him like, you can get the fuck out too. Acting crazy.
In my house.
But I realized that I was here and not able to, fully think through, be rational, calm. This is a good time to tag team because I'm here. Yeah. And I'm literally shaking. I'm stuttering. I'm spitting.
Like,
I knocked her over. Like,
you wildin' out.
Yeah. We here. So this is a good time to tag team my partner.
Yeah.
Damn.
Keep going. I got ask you a question for Jay.
So I said, Jade, my daughter, well, whatever, we already said her name, Jade. I said, call daddy right now. And this is one thing we do. Yeah. I do call him daddy. He calls me mommy. So I said, call daddy right now. So she called daddy. As soon as he picked up, she's like,
I swear to God.
Mommy dragged me across.
All right, baby, what the fuck you do?
Mommy. He said, Jazz, get on the phone. So he gets on the phone with me. He said, what happened? I told him what happened. He said, take a breath, which I appreciated because I did need to
calm down.
Woosah. And he said, what happened? I told him what happened. And he said, y'all both in there. Y'all both women. You're going to get into this little situation, but take a breath. Ooh. Remember, she's still a child. She still is learning lessons.
Like let me
talk to her. So then I gave the phone.
Nobody
said that.
I mean, if you had to read between the lines a couple seconds ago,
I never met him.
It seemed like the nigga.
I think that's the
maybe
problem.
He a good father, maybe not a good nigga.
A few seconds away before y'all made it seem like.
Hey, I think I dropped the gym.
Sometimes it's perspective.
Hey, shout out.
Sometimes it's perspective.
Wait.
It's not a picture. It's the truth.
Hey, Sade.
I don't think people understand that.
I think I just dropped the gym.
What's the gym?
I said he might be a good father, but not a good nigga.
And that's how we have it. Period.
That don't got shit to do with you.
So then he said, okay.
That ain't none of your business. What we growing up?
No. You be a horrible nigga, but like, good for your kid, though.
Bro, right. And that's all that matters.
Let me tell you. No, I'm going to tell you why.
Okay, wait, hold on, Sade. So when we talked about, when you said, your comment is asinine or stupid, whatever you said, about if I was on the side of the road, I wouldn't call him, right?
Yeah. You said you would die on the side of the road before I call him. I said it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. Because to
but clearly
me,
he's a good father.
Because to me, I figured it out all on my own already.
So and for me, who's had this child on my back, for 11 going on 12, because you're pregnant for a year, so 12 years, where we have been down. We've lived here. We've eaten this. We've done that. I've had to rob Peter to pay Paul to get this. I take my daughter out of the country every year for her birthday. We live in a house. We got a dog. I drive a Lexus. Like
I met Jazz when she was living in the trap.
No,
not the trap. What I said it was a
trap.
Wait. That's not getting fucked up. What I said doesn't take away from your motherhood at all.
No, but it matters with the thinking, and I think that's where.
And I think that's the difference. And that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
It feels like to me. And again, I had to talk to my mother about this and realize what it was. And I just realized, I haven't had that amount of growth yet.
Yeah.
It is,
I respect
to your point, maybe it's a growth. Maybe it's an ego. Maybe it's a whatever.
I fuck with that.
But to what I said, I would rather die on the side of the road than ask that nigga
So let me ask you, can I ask you this?
So. Y'all seen it. Y'all heard it. I have a couple of issues with it. Probably more because, like I said, if you look at my video talking about being a man is tough. But this is one of the things I stayed away from. But because of this context, I'll probably dip into it. The thing is that when you have children with people that you're no longer with, there's a schedule that's more than likely set up if it's not done within the courts. It's about availability. If you're the parent that has the child, you're probably going to dictate when the person can see the child. So she made the statement of, well, not this weekend, it's not going to work. Well, what if that's not that parent's weekend? Whether it's male or female, it doesn't matter. What if it's not their weekend? And if it's not their weekend and they've made work plans or things like that, I've been in situations where I gotta hustle and work to continue to pay child support, whatever. This weekend ain't gonna work because I gotta do that. But if it's a weekend where something changed and be like, yo, can we do this? Let me look. All right, yeah, that'll work. It just really depends on how flexible you are able to move. Because if you're not the custodial parent, you haven't a lot of time of when you're able to get that child. So then, I'd rather down the side of the road than call this dude. And remember, she went to the more insulting aspect, call him an N-word with the A. But it's still a demeaning terminology in how she was using it. Because I'd rather do this than call that dude. That's problematic. But you obviously have some toxicity in you because you dragging your daughter on the floor, and now because you're so emotionally toxic and it's gotten to a height that's uncontrollable, you call the father. And the father backs you. All right, take a breather. He's giving you the guidance or leadership, but he's not a good dude. He's just a good father. But obviously he's a good enough dude to recognize, okay, let me lead the situation into the path that it needs to go. Okay, relax, calm down, take a breather. Let me give you the outside view. Because he understands obviously it's chaotic. My child's calling me and she's crying and all of that. You get on the phone, you probably sound like crazy. All right, hold on, take a breather. That's leadership. But you rather die on the side of the road than require anything from them. And what I'm noticing within the community is this ideology of wanting to sound like you get stripes or badges or anything like that because you suffered or struggled. That is not something to brag about. The other chick I was talking, she was very toxic. And if you watch two toxic people bounce off each other, yeah, man, because, yeah, say it, sis. Yeah, because I done did all of this without him and blah, blah, blah. But we don't never talk about why that's the case. You talking about you've been living in places that were unacceptable. Why? Was he broke at the same time you were broke? Did he offer you a place? Well, hey, you can come live here if you need to be. Was he paying child support at the time? You driving a Lexus, you taking your daughter out of the country every year. Is he participating in that by providing you money? Or is it just you doing it clearly by yourself? Because if you talk to your mother and you realize there's a moment where it's like, well, there's still an ego there. And if it's ego, then that means that you've literally stifled you and your child's growth because of your ego. That has nothing to do with the man. That has to do with you. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. But it's starting to show that women have no qualms with dissing men online. They love to do it. They actually embellish it. Look at how they were acting. You can rewind the video. I'm not gonna rewind it. But you can see how much they were relishing and just down talking these men. But they don't realize that when you down talk the men like you do, you down talking yourself. Because you laid down and let him put his seed in you. Period. Because if you're not able to start with, let's be very clear, I love and respect the other parent, but they do some stuff that gets on my nerves. That makes sense. But when it's just complete denigrating of that individual, like they're not present, they're not this, they're not nothing, I did all of this by myself. Well, why? Were y'all not able to work as a unit? And if you weren't, what was the reasons? Let's talk about it. And not from your perspective where you're just the hero and there's no villainy within your person or your personality. Because sometimes, whether men or females, they always want to give the side like they're the hero. No. You probably was rude. You probably was raw, rugged, disrespectful. It's a bunch of things you could have been. And if you haven't recognized it, then that's a problem within yourself. So then you discredit the story, because if somebody really breaks it down and says, okay, let me ask you what you did. Why are you asking me? Well, I got to see what happened on your end. Because if he's just, everything he did was wrong, he sucked, then how'd y'all last that long? How'd y'all last that long to make the child, then have the child, then so on and so forth? You know what I mean? Like, no one ever gets to the nitty gritty because no one asks these questions, because the moment you ask it, you got a dude on the other side. Shout out to the dude on the right in the video, because he was like, wait, what? That don't make no sense. He's calling out, but the other dude, what they say? Oh, he's well trained. Why? Because he was like, well, I ain't got no kids. But he's still co-signing what they're saying, not playing middle ground. He never played middle ground. He was like, all right, dude, chill. We'll get back to that. Man, come on now. We got to be real about this stuff. When women can get to brag and down talk men, we got to start analyzing why. Why is the dude not there? What happened? But at the moment of crisis, now I'm going to use you to bring everything back down. yes, I raised everything up. Now you got to come in and be logical and bring it back down. Not be emotional. You bring it back down. Did she give him props for it? Not really. She went back to what she's done and how it's so much better. But that's just my thoughts on it. We got to stop getting out of this. We got to start getting out of this aspect of just dissing men. You know, I grew up in a household where my father wasn't there. My mother never disrespected the man. She allowed me to figure that out on my own on what I could determine him to be when he was around. And the thing is that when you do things on the internet and you talk down on these people, I'd rather down the side of the road. That literally means that you created more chaos in your life than was necessary, because some people are an agent of chaos. When you're talking about dragging your child across the floor, and I'm gonna leave the link down in the description so you can actually see what she was talking about. And you know, people don't think like, yeah, you're on the internet. Yes, that's true. You're on the internet, so you got to be somewhere cautious about it. Because if you look at the comments, they're like, man, somebody call CPS right now, because she came off super toxic, chaotic, and probably will facilitate a possibility of another single mother. You know, because every generation that's born is supposed to be better than the last. That's the theory. But if you start off on the wrong foot, then that means y'all just gonna keep having that wrong step continued on unless you've grown from it. Which, what she said, she has not grown. But let me know what you think down in the comment section. Be on the lookout for more videos. All right, everybody? Peace.